Hey everyone, it's me again, Brittany, and I'm here today to show you guys my November bullet journal theme. I'm actually very excited about this one. I feel like I always say that about all the things. I guess I'm a very excitable person, but I feel like this theme is cool just because it's not really solidly based off of a book. I'm gonna say it's definitely inspired a little bit by Illuminae, but it's also kind of inspired by the way that I've been doing my thumbnails recently. I don't know if you guys noticed, but like my background, like right behind me, instead of it just being like a glow, it's like a glitchy glow. But I've just been really into the whole glitch pattern. It's not even a pattern, it's just like an aesthetic, I suppose. I really like the glitch text and the static kind of intros and outros. So I was definitely inspired by that because I've just been really into the aesthetic, and I was like, okay, why not do a more like aesthetic, easy to do bullet journal theme? And so this is kind of like a glitch, old school, retro type pattern. I'm calling it a glitch theme, and every time I say that, I think about Stitch Has a Glitch, that movie. We all know I'm obsessed with Stitch though, so there's really no surprise there. I'm really excited about this one. I feel like it's definitely an easy one for you guys to replicate. I feel like it's a perfect in-between for me because, as we all know, I'm not ready to let go of spooky season, and I'm not quite ready to delve into fall, and I feel like this is kind of like a dark, moody theme without being spooky and without being too moody for November. So yeah, it's what I went with. I wanted like an electric green situation, and that's what we did. I would love to know if you guys end up copying this for one of your themes later on, because I just feel like it's fun. It's easy to do, in my opinion. I feel like it mostly can be done by printing most things out. Other than that, I do want to thank Skillshare so much for sponsoring today's video. You guys know I've worked quite a few times with Skillshare, but we're going to talk a little bit more about them a little later on in the video. But without further ado, let's actually jump into it. Okay, so we're starting this off by lighting a candle. I realized in editing last time that I hadn't lit a candle, and I was actually so sad, so I made sure to find one for this video. And what better time to light an Illuminae candle than when I'm making a spread loosely based off of Illuminae. And for anyone wondering, it is actually a candle that I got in a subscription box a couple of years ago. It was either Fairy Loot or Owl Crate. I'm leaning towards Owl Crate, but I honestly can't remember. So yeah, now onto the theme. I really wanted this to be simple. Simple to do and simple to follow. Not something that was going to take me days as my themes normally do. And I started by actually printing out all of my titles using my Phomemo printer. And this is not a font that I created. It's actually one that I found on Pinterest. And then I actually took a screenshot and put it into Procreate to kind of copy it down and use it to make my titles. So yeah, 100% this is not my font. I just used it for my titles. And here I'm just cutting it out with some scissors. And I decided that I wanted a little bit more structure and like duality to it, so I took some black paper from my Blackout Archer and Olive notebook and cut it into like a code-like pattern. I really don't know how to describe it, but whenever I think code, I think boxes. Oh, this is me noticing that the candle had sparkles in it and was very pretty. You're welcome. And then I just took my Tombow glue tape and glued in the black paper and then stuck on the title over it. And I just took some of my gel pens, this electric green one, and outlined the glitch pattern that's supposed to be in the font, but obviously Phomemo printers only print in black and white, so it wasn't like this. Actually, the original color was pink and blue, but I made it green to suit my needs, and I also took a Posca paint marker to do the deeper green. And here I have some pages that I printed out of Illuminae. Don't read this if you don't want any spoilers whatsoever, so try not to pay attention to the pages. Sorry about that, I just think they look so cool. And there aren't really very many spoilers at all on it, but if you're one of those people that is very sensitive to any kind of spoiler, just avoid this part. And I actually just did most of my straight cutting with the straight cutter tool, and then used scissors for the finer details. And I decided that I wanted to have like a window screen of an old computer, and at first I was going to make it very structured and well made, but then I decided that I wanted it to be a little bit messier, so I freehanded it. I again used mostly Posca paint markers for this, the lighter green and the darker green, and then I took one of my fine liner pens and wrote error, and in the same kind of font I wrote TBR and gave it a little shadow with the electric green gel pen. And then I kind of did this gridding because I didn't want to constantly have to draw a lot of boxes, but I still wanted something similar. So you'll see that pop up a lot. I don't love it, but it's definitely there. And here I just blacked out the back of it, that way it could kind of mesh a little bit better with the restart sequence that the AI unit does in Illumine. And I wrote restart code in that kind of messy type-ish font. So yeah, and now on to the next page where I print out more of the titles using my Foam Memo printer. Yeah, so that was me just going back into my iPad to layer them, that way I didn't have to use so much paper. And here we see my printer run out of paper, which isn't normally a big deal because I definitely have some more somewhere. But I went on a hunt at this point, you can see, because my candle burned a lot while I was gone, and I couldn't find it, so I ended up having to print out these two titles using just my real printer. So yeah, that's the reason for that. Here I actually just outline how big the title is, that way I can kind of make another boxy pattern around it. Again, in my head, I just imagine lots of boxes in a glitch sort of pattern. I don't really think I succeeded if I compare it to what I was originally thinking in my head, but I do overall really like how the patterns I made look. I mean, besides just the straight up grid patterns, I think those are kind of boring. But this style was pretty cool. I'll probably go in and play with it a little bit more, even now that my bullet journal's done, just to kind of see what other effects I can get with it. And there I was actually just outlining in a black gel pen to kind of see if I would prefer the titles re-outlined. I do, but it was just a lot of time. And again, I'm taking my blackout paper and I'm actually writing down the dates of the month, and I wanted it to be in, again, that boxy kind of discombobulated pattern, so I didn't do the numbers all in a row. I wanted them to kind of be glitching. I really don't know how else to describe it. You're probably going to hear the word glitch so many times in this video, but I actually just took the Posca paint marker in darker green and I just outlined the boxes using kind of a 3x3 pattern, and that was me just cutting it out. This one is the one that honestly took the most brain power, strangely enough, so my camera died during it and I kind of just let that happen because I had to figure out where I wanted all the boxes to go for it to look confused, which is the reason for that. And then I wrote out the numbers in that kind of futuristic style font, and I liked that it looked messy because I wanted this again to kind of represent a breaking down AI unit or computer unit, something along those lines. So I'm happy with that. And then once again, for my title, I cut out in black the boxes, but then this time I decided to do some shading with the paint marker, and I actually like how that looks better, making it look almost like a doubling. And then turns out I didn't need to print out my hauled part using normal printer paper because I ended up kind of liking the look of using the half-done one and writing the rest out. And this is just when I stuck in some more of the papers from Illumine, and I do, again, really like how this looks. Just, again, I want to mention that there really aren't that many spoilers except for on the last page, so I will warn you before that just to not read that paper. And yeah, here you saw me try to use the X-Acto knife instead to do the boxes, and it wasn't working for me, so I just went back to scissors to make my Books Red spread. I did really end up liking using Books Red as my little area instead of making it more of a grid and being able to elaborate on my thoughts. So I did that once again for this page and overall kept it pretty simple because I want to be able to write as much as I can for the books that I read. For the most part, I ended up just using Sakura jelly rolls and Posca paint markers in 4 different colors for the spread. You'll see that I ended up kind of bringing in some Tombow dual brush pens, but I kind of wish I hadn't. You'll see, because I feel like it looked better as just gel. And here we're doing my favorite spread for the favorite book of the month. And I start getting very, very messy with the grid-like pattern in the background. And weirdly enough, I think it works even better than when I was thinking a lot about how to do the grids. So I just took some Posca paint markers and then taped in the fave title, which I realized after that I had accidentally printed out twice. So I guess there really was no point in printing it out on my printer. Also, I don't know if you noticed the frame move right there. My camera actually fell a little bit, but I caught it, no worries. And then I actually was measuring how big the pictures are for my monthly favorite, and that way I can leave a space and do a grid-like pattern around it. And the page next to it, this is where there's a full page from Illumine, so if you're sensitive to any sort of spoilers, try not to read the page. There really aren't that many spoilers on it, but it had the iconic line, "Am I not merciful?" So I really wanted to be able to include it as a full spread. And this is also when you can tell I start getting very messy with the grid-like pattern, but it kind of worked. So yeah, and that's basically it. Now on to the sponsor of the video. Thank you so much to Skillshare again for sponsoring my video today. I've worked with Skillshare quite a few times. I love working with Skillshare. I really feel like it's just this amazing community, and I have learned so many things that I didn't know I needed from Skillshare. If you haven't already heard my spiel though, Skillshare is this incredible online learning community with thousands of classes that explore tons of different passions. You really can find your niche in this community, and it really is a community that is there to help you grow with real people, real discussion centers, and real group projects that keep you motivated and inspired. Some of the class topics that I've really loved have had to do mostly with creativity, some photography classes, some videography classes, artistic classes that cover digital art to real life art, productivity classes, and even lifestyle and interior design style classes. I've really been able to explore new hobbies and to grow on the ones that I've already had. Specifically though, I actually wanted to talk about this amazing class that I found that has to do with finding your own style and your own creativity. I feel like I'm always looking for my own niche, my own self. I have a hard time identifying the things that make me me. And when I saw this class, I just knew it was going to be the perfect sort of class for me. And this class is called Find Your Style: 5 Exercises to Unlock Your Creative Identity by Andy J. Pizza. And it's such a fun class. It's really about doing some specific exercises that can kind of unlock your own style that you may have not known that you had. And I already started it, and I've absolutely loved the things that he's covered, because a lot of times we're told like, oh, if you're a creative person, your style will just come to you. You should just know, it'll come with time. And that isn't always the case, at least it wasn't for me. So hearing someone else mention that, someone else that's in a creative field, has been very relieving, and it's nice to know that I have this class to kind of explore my own style. Not to mention that Skillshare is actually created specifically for learning, meaning they're constantly coming out with new premium classes that maybe suit your needs, even better than the ones that they had before, and that is a completely ad-free experience because they really want you to be able to focus on the things that you want to learn and grow in. And they're doing all this at under $10 a month for a year of their premium membership, which in my opinion is a very affordable option. And Skillshare has actually been kind enough to offer me a link for you guys, so the first 1,000 people that go down in my description bar and follow the link will actually get a free trial of their premium membership, which is amazing, and you guys are able to test it out for yourself to see if this is something that's gonna work for you. So if you guys have been interested in Skillshare and wanted to try it out for yourself, don't forget to go down in the description bar below. Again, thank you so much to Skillshare for sponsoring another one of my videos. I love working with you guys. I'm obviously growing a lot from the service, and I hope that you guys are able to grow from it as well if you choose to. Now, without further ado, let's actually get into the glam shots. I never know what to call this part. The reveal of what my bullet journal ended up looking like. I definitely added some more to my title page, like the "I think therefore I am" quote and the actual books on my TBR. For my day's read spread, I actually just added the key on whether I read or not for the day, and I added a grid pattern, which I think is amazing, and taped in some more stuff from Illumine, but my hold page I left pretty much the same, which I also left my November books read spread mostly the same. Again, I want to be able to use it. And I also really didn't change much of anything about the next spread. But I still love this theme. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on whether you would want to recreate it or anything like that. But for now, I'm happy with it. I'm happy it didn't take that long. My candle's still burning. And that'll be it for this video today, guys. Also, how cool is it that my nail polish kind of matches the theme? Bye!